Well, don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Johnny with the pod. Welcome to the John DeLong Show. Welcome to your weekly dose of Monday morning nonsense. Welcome to episode number 15. No, 16. We're on to 16 now. I'm not even going to fix that. Screw it. I've already tried to do this intro a couple times and it just hasn't gone off. I'm John DeLong. Thank you so much for joining me. Always very pleased to have you along. A lot of great feedback for last week's episode. People like it when I rant. You guys like it when I get angry. So I guess that when there's something for me to be pissed off about, means that we're going to have a good show of the John DeLong Show. Bit of a weird week for me this week, guys. I hope you're doing well. This past week just was, I don't know, it just sort of felt like, I'm sure you've experienced it, but just sort of felt like everything was kind of catching up with me. As you know, as I've mentioned on the show, I'm in school and I'm working, and it's been busy. But this week, man, I tell you, like it was this past week was the first one in a while where it was just like, oh my God, getting up in the morning, realizing that I've got like an 18-hour day ahead of myself. Just I don't know. It's rough, like it's a tough ask. One of those situations where I'm getting up and I'm going to school and I'm enjoying class a lot, and then I'm having to turn around and go right to work, which is a stressful environment for me. So it's hard to get the motivation to do the things that I enjoy, but once I've actually gone ahead and done the thing, I end up enjoying it, and it just makes doing the things that I'm not going to enjoy all the more difficult. But you know what? I've found a moment here to record this podcast, and this is something that I always enjoy doing, and this is by no means a hardship. So again, thank you so much for joining me. And today, I think today's going to be kind of a weird reflection of my general mood this week. I'm going to talk about some things that I'm having a hard time getting worked up over. Namely, we're going to talk about the Olympics and how those are happening, which is weird because, it feels like nothing has happened with the Olympics. It just sort of seems like nothing interesting is going on. I've got some reasons in my mind. I'm also going to talk about the bloom coming off the rose, kind of, for Justin Trudeau's Liberals. What I think about that. And you know what? There are some things that I'm excited about, and I'm going to talk about this week. The CRTC here in Canada and net neutrality here in Canada. Going to have a quick chat about that. We've got a new trailer for the Han Solo movie, which I'm very excited about, and also some news about new Star Wars series. So that's good. That's good news. All that and well, I've got my first letter from a foreign country. I mean, it's from a Canadian, but he's living in Manchester. My good friend Cameron wrote into the show. Always glad to hear from Cameron. If I could, I would throw in some Sandstorm by Darude right now, Cam. But that costs money. Anywho, after this, we're going to go into the Olympics. So did anybody else just kind of forget about the Olympics this year? Like, I don't know about you, but like I'm just not hyped for it in the way that I have been in past years. Like even so, like the Winter Olympics is kind of like where Canada is able to shine. Surprise, surprise. You know, we have a cold climate for half the year. You know, a lot of our national sports are sort of centered around it being winter. But like I don't know, man. Like it just like I was more excited for the Summer Olympics, where the Canadians don't have much of a shot the last time around, than I was for this set of Winter Olympics. I think that it might have to do like largely with due to a couple reasons. Like first of all, with it being in Korea, you know the time difference is going to make things difficult to keep up on things without being spoiled ahead of time, I guess, or without, staying up until ungodly hours or getting up at ungodly hours in order to watch different events. Also, of course, no NHL players on national teams this year. The NHL Players Association and the league weren't able to make a deal with the IOC, so there's no NHL players playing in the hockey tournaments. So, honestly, like it's back to sort of what the Olympics is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about amateur, non-professional athletes competing at the highest levels, and then they go on to have great professional careers. I mean, it's still the way that it's done in boxing and in wrestling and all that sort of stuff. But here we are on the cusp of what just seems to me to be like the most boring sounding Olympics that I'll tell you, the only thing that I'm excited to sort of see is curling. I like curling in a weird way. Like it's just like it's so, I don't want to say mind numbing, but it's just very simple to just sit there and kind of zone out and watch. It's kind of like ice baseball. There's not a whole lot going on until there is, and then you can follow what's going on while it's going on, and then you can go back to your beer or whatever. I don't know, like it just sort of seems like the Olympics this year, maybe it's also has to do with sort of the changing media landscape that we exist in. I can watch sports from all over the world now online if I have the the wherewithal to find it. So an Olympic style competition is less exciting because I can see some of these athletes competing otherwise. And of course, this is like the world championships it's the friggin' Olympics. So of course it means a lot, but in a lot of cases, it's a question of finding a television rather than finding, my laptop or cell phone. It's just interesting that, I haven't really even seen much hype for the Olympics. Like it doesn't seem like different brands are getting themselves attached to the Olympic brand in the way that they normally do. You don't see as many "Let's Go Canada," displays out in public. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Like honestly, at this point, I'm more excited about Roll Up the Rim being back. For any of my non-Canadian listeners, basically, Roll Up the Rim is Tim Hortons promotion that they do every year, where the little rim of the paper cup rolls up, and sometimes you win free coffee or free donut, or occasionally there's cash prizes and a car usually. And it also kind of signals to me anyhow that spring is not here, but it's very, very close. Like it just is the indication that eventually bad weather will be over and it'll be warm again, which is exciting for me for about 10 minutes before I realize that I'm not going to be able to breathe for 3 months because of all of the allergens in the air. Like I love the spring until it's just oh God, I can't breathe. So I I guess invest heavily in allergen medication, antihistamines, because in another couple of months I'm going to be buying them by the truckload. Um, just taking Benadryl just so that I can breathe, so that I can sleep. Which, you know, it's a trade off. It's a trade off. I'm looking forward to the spring again. I think that's maybe what's part of why I'm feeling so like logy this week is, the weather has been a bit off. We've here in Halifax we've been having sort of on and off sort of spring weather, 10 degrees. Then the next day it'll be -12 and snowy, and then it'll rain, and then it'll be ice pellets, and then it'll be slush, and it's just gross. So, I don't know. I'm looking forward to the spring. Roll up the rims here. I probably won't win anything on it. It's funny. Like it's kind of a perfect time for Tim Hortons though to have some good PR. In Ontario, they've been changing looking at changing the mandated minimum wage. It's going to be going up to $15, which sounds nice. I'd like that. I actually might make more than that right now. I'm not even entirely sure what my wage is at my part-time job. I might be above 15. I'm not sure though. Anyhow, it's not like I'm sitting here like I don't even know how much money I make. I just make so much of it. It's like I genuinely don't know what my hourly wage is. Haven't looked at my stub in a while. Basically, getting back to Tim Hortons, when that came down, there were some Tim Hortons franchises that did not deal with that news particularly well of the minimum wage changing, and they took away the workers' rights to accept tips. They were trying to take away their mandated paid breaks, and just ultimately the individual franchisees kind of looking like massive tools. And there were some talks about boycotts. Here's the thing: like I don't even Canadians are sort of portrayed as worshiping Tim Hortons. If an American knows anything about Tim Hortons or about Canada, about Tim Hortons, they know, Tim Hortons. Those Canadians, they love their Tim Hortons. You know what? Like honestly, it's just in my experience, anyhow, it's just convenient. I know what I'm getting out of Tim Hortons every time that I go there. It's going to be a consistent product. It's not particularly good, but it is what it is absolutely every time. Their coffee is a very efficient caffeine, sugar, and cream delivery system. But I'm not going to sit there and enjoy a Tim Hortons cup of coffee like I would enjoy a cup of coffee at like my local cafe. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be something that I sit there and I sip with. Like I like to take my coffee just with milk. 2%, no sugar, no sweetener, nothing. With Tim Hortons, I have to get double cream, double sugar, the old double, because like coffee is candy. You know what I mean? It's candy coffee. It's not good. It's not a good cup of Joe. Like I'm not gonna be drinking that stuff black. I'm not enjoying the taste of it. I'm drinking it very much for the utilitarian purpose of like, let's get some caffeine into the system. It's actually, I read a report that it's actually, Tim Hortons is actually not the preferred brand of sort of fast food coffee in Canada anymore. It's just that they are so ubiquitous, that they end up doing a fair market share. And, there are folks who do really genuinely love going to their Tim Hortons every day and getting their Timmies every single day. But I've actually read that it looks like McDonald's is actually the preferred brand now. And I believe in order to counteract Roll Up the Rim, McDonald's is going to $1 coffees for